Brett, let's jump into our MLB though. Talk about some baseball that's going on Monday. We don't have a lot of games, but we have some good ones. One line that jumped off the page to me is this Rangers Red Sox game, and the Rangers plus 1.5 at plus 145 is just, it's too good for me, Brett. I mean, plus 145 when you're being given a run and a half is spectacular, especially when you look at the fact that the Red Sox, when they are favorites, they are 30 and 44 this season against the run line. Not to mention also the Rangers so far this season against the Red Sox, they're 4 and 2. So the Rangers have performed rather well against Boston. They've been able to actually perform more advantageously that they're winning the series. Why are they such big underdogs? And I understand on the money line being underdogs, but plus 145 for a plus 1.5 run line, that is just too good of value for me to pass up, so I got to take it.
Fair enough, Higgins. I won't argue that that's a big plus number next to another plus 1.5 on the run line, but it's probably well deserved. I will differ with you there. I think the Rangers, probably outside of the Pittsburgh Pirates, worst roster in Major League Baseball. So, yeah, you will not catch me betting either side in this one. The Red Sox have maybe looked more like the team we expected at the beginning of the season, or excuse me, maybe look at the team more like I expected rather than the team than they were at the beginning of the season. Since the post All Star break, they have not been the same team, not hit as well, not pitched as well. So, I mean, I think there's a chance that the Rangers do cover the run line here, Higgins, but I am not going to back it.
Yeah, both these teams are 5 and 5 against the run line in their past 10 games, so pretty even odds in that sense in terms of how they performed recently. In terms of who's on the mound, I'm not too worried. Nathan Eovaldi on the mound for the Red Sox, Colby Allard on the mound for the Rangers. Should be a hitter's game. I just hope the Rangers can keep it within one run.
I know you do. Higgins, but a game we're both on, White Sox, Blue Jays. This one's a little more interesting than your silly Rangers Red Sox game. Although, important to note, Rangers Red Sox is in the afternoon. The rest of these are night games, Higgins. So, White Sox, Blue Jays, under the lights, Lance Lynn, Alec Manoah. You can find me on the under 9, Higgins. Those are two premier pitchers. Both these teams are going to need these guys to pitch well. And I think they can keep these lineups at bay. These are good lineups. That's why the over under is probably still up there at 9. Because I think if these were pitchers were facing off with, say, like the Mets and Phillies lineup behind them, Higgins, this over under could be at like 8.
Yeah, this over under, I mean, Lance Lynn on the mound is really what kept me away from this over under because I took a look at it too. But Lance Lynn has just been really strong on the mound. Toronto's offense, though, if they can get Lance Lynn in trouble early, absolutely this 9 is in play in terms of an over under. But I like your under pick. Brett, where I'm going with this game is I'm going back to the run line again. We got the White Sox minus 1.5 at plus 140 in Toronto. And with Lance Lynn on the mound, like I said with the over under, it makes it really hard for some runs to come across the plate for the Toronto Blue Jays here. And Lance Lynn can go 7, 8 innings potentially. So could be a light evening of work for the bullpen of the White Sox, even. You take a look at how these teams have done against the run line recently. I mean, in their past 10 games, the White Sox are just 3 and 7. But if you look at the Blue Jays, overall on their season at home, they're just 30 and 28. They're not performing that spectacularly. And I really like Lance Lynn on the mound against Alex Manoah. Lance Lynn fighting for an AL Cy Young potential opportunity here. And the Toronto Blue Jays, they've come back to Canada. They've kind of settled back down now. They were playing red hot when they got back to Toronto, and I really expect the White Sox, who they are going to be fighting not only for the AL Central, which they're potentially locking up already at this point as we're getting closer to September now, but they're also fighting for that top seed in the AL playoffs, and they could potentially grab it. So I'm backing Lynn here.
All right. Well, as long as he doesn't throw his belt at any umpires, we should be good, and maybe you'll get 7 innings from him. But the next game we're both on, Higgins. Look at us being super efficient, betting on the same games here. Uh, Yankees Braves. We spoke about it briefly earlier. How it's a big series coming up for both these teams. Montgomery versus Yanoa is what we're expected to see on Monday, Higgins, and I'm excited to see who Oscar Yanoa back. I haven't seen him since he's come back from his injury. I believe this is going to be his second, possibly his third start since coming back from injury. So he was a guy that was pitching really well. Also had 2 home runs as a pitcher earlier in the year. So that's
Ooh.
exciting too. This game, I believe, is in Atlanta.
Yep.
And that means the pitchers will bat Higgins. So Yanoa, probably a better batter than Jordan Montgomery. I'm not really taking that into account when I look at the over under, but I do think the Yankees lineup versus a pitcher making his second, possibly his third. Again, I'm sorry I don't have that information, but fresh off of injury, we will say Higgins, still working his way back to full strength. I'm going to take the over 9 because I believe the Braves can score 4 to 5 runs, and I certainly believe the Yankees can score 6, 7, 8, 9 runs.
It's his second start back since the injury. He took about 3 months off, was sidelined back in May, midway through, came back August 17th, pitched 5 innings, so it didn't seem like he had an issue in his first start back. But actually, Brett, I'm going to be backing the other pitcher in this matchup, Jordan Montgomery and the Yankees traveling down to Atlanta on the money line. They are plus 135, and I just love that. You look at both of these teams, they are riding 9-game winning streaks. To me, just off of that means that this money line needs to be closer. It should be a little bit closer. Plus 135 is a little too big for me, so I'm absolutely taking that. And it's also mainly because the Yankees have not been underdogs on the money line very often this year, and when they are, they win. They're 9-7 as away dogs. They're 12-9 overall as underdogs. Meanwhile, if you take a look at Atlanta and them being favorites, they are overall they're good as favorites. They're 51-36, but most of those come on the road because at home as favorites, they're 25-25. So the Yankees traveling down to Atlanta. The Yankees are currently sitting in second in the AL East, just 4.5 games back of the Tampa Bay Rays. Meanwhile, the Braves are atop the NL East division. Think the Yankees are just a little bit hungrier in this scenario, so I'm going to be backing Jordan Montgomery and the Yanks.
All right, yeah, I'm excited to watch this series, Higgins, for sure.
Yeah, it should be an interesting one. We had a few other lines come across, Brett, but I wasn't really too interested in any of those. I mean, the Astros, that's an interesting line. They're hosting the Kansas City Royals to me with Zach Greinke on the mound potentially. And then the Mariners Athletics. This is a line that I also took a look at a lot, Brett, because both these teams are fantastic against the run line. The Mariners are the third best team in the MLB against the run line. The Athletics are the fourth best team against the run line. So that's a game that I was eyeing. I might wait till we actually have some lineups for that one before I place it. It's going to be our last game of the night as well, so I'll have a little bit more time.
Yeah, you definitely have some time and big implications for the wild card for the AL West. So all of it's still in play out there.